Hi, how are you? It's been a while. I took a little time off. Um, I'm sure we've all been just completely disillusioned and frustrated by the news of the day of the week, and it's there hasn't really been much good. So I told you we'd use this channel to talk about not just the news, but also culture, pop culture, and how politics can relate to it. So I want to take this week to talk about Love Island. Now, my team loves Love Island, and they all watched last season. And they were talking about it, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it because the last two times I watched Love Island, I got very frustrated because the way that the black women, particularly the darker skinned black women, were treated was unacceptable in my opinion. Between the season with Cash and Cinco, if y'all watch back then Justine, and I don't remember that dude's name, but he played her. So I just was like, I'm never watching this again. So what made me actually decide to watch this season was not only the fact that the ladies were like, you got to watch it, is that there were so many women of color, black women that were part of the cast. So I was like, all right, let me see if, our country has learned it all since those days. And of course I fell in love with what they call the core four: Trinity, Anaya, Melanie, and Kata. Um, Melanie is a Philly girl, loves with all her heart, loves that raggedy sincere. Um, Anaya, I relate to Anaya so much. She's a suburban black woman. It really brought into question um, what it looks like to be a black woman in this country and how there's different experiences. And she really showed the versatility of black women. Trinity, the winner of Love Island with her man Bryce Brinity, Team Brinity. I am Team Brittany and Team Carnaya, which we'll get into in a second. And I love Trinity because she first started off, like, I went back and watched the first episode, and she was there with her nice her nice perky work voice. And then by the end, she was like, boot this girl out this villa. Trinity was like your down home girl next door that's fun. And she was so real and very wise to be 22. That also got me. And then Kata. How can we not love Kata with the raspy voice, with the New England accent from New Hampshire, Haitian? Uh, she just, she was always funny and ready to fight, which I always thought was so funny because New Hampshire, not that I would stereotype it, but I don't know a whole lot of people from New Hampshire, but they're usually pretty laid back, and Kata's not laid back. So fell in love with the core four. Um, we are now at Love Island has ended, where the stars of the show, the core four, and there's some men, which we'll get to the men in a second, but there's enough discourse about the men because, um, and the top two couples were Bryce and Trinity and Carl and Anaya. So you either team Brinity or team Anaya, but team Brinity and team Anaya for the most part have solidarity because it was really great to see two dark skinned black women be loved out loud. Now, my hope is, unlike what happened to Justine and how Single Play Cash, is that in a month from now, when we come back for the reunion, that I'm not sitting here telling you that Bryce and Carl played in those women's faces. So I saw something today that talked about, so let's bring in the cultural aspect of this, the stuff that I talked about very early on, in a couple episodes back, where it talked about how, like, the super hyper masculine man actually lost this season and the soft masculinity won, right? Brent, like Bryce, I keep calling him Brenity. Bryce is like a golden retriever. Whether you question if him and Trinity are actually in love or not, I've gone back and forth on it, but I do know one thing is that they have a wonderful friendship and relationship. And we all know that's the real foundation of being in a long-term relationship. My like some of my like best exes, we were like tight, we were friends before we dated. So I understand why they say that prior to marriage as well. I think that, you know, Bryce was very clear about how he loved her. He was clear about his feelings for her. Trinity did not shy away from the conversations about the fact that they're in an interracial relationship and what that will mean. And, they're kind of in this cove, they're in a cave, and they don't have any contact with the outside world. They have no idea how people are receiving them. And honestly, because they really started off as friends, and Bryce always made it very clear though that he was more interested. And I love when he called her the baddest in the beginning, because those of us who grew up under Trina, the baddest, that's like one of the best things you could say, right? So I always love that. Carl and Anaya. Oh boy. So Anaya is like a whole conversation in herself because the she was with Casey in the beginning. Neither of them were picked as top contenders in the beginning. Tried to make it work, but it seems from me just like stepping back because I mean, I have my thoughts about Casey, but it seems like they would have been better off as friends. Just like off rip, they probably should have been friends. I didn't believe anything he was saying to her. I thought it was very sweet that he was saying she was the blueprint. But I do want to talk about how I feel like these men, like they know how it impacts women to see darker skinned black women get loved out loud, but they don't want to follow through. And that's like a whole different thing that I like can't do because I'm trying not to talk too long, but I'm already looking at the time and I'm already going long. We haven't even gotten through half the cast yet. So I think we're gonna have to do part two. So Anaya essentially is disrespected by Casey, doesn't know she's disrespected by Casey. And for many people that watch the show, and for many of us who are new, I haven't watched Love Island in like 6 years. Um, when you come back to decide that you want to recouple, you're supposed to at least not close the door on the person you were previously coupled up with without having a private conversation. Well, Casey had no problem doing it out loud, which caused this whole backlash because, of course, Trinity by this point had turned her work voice off and was ready to go at it with Casey and did. And then they all did. And Casey brought in this woman, TT, who I find for Love Island, like, I don't think any bombshell should see the show beforehand because then they come in at an advantage. She knew exactly what Casey needed and what he wanted, and she got it. And what I'm skipping here, but what annoyed me most about TT was she made it seem like the girls came at her, but she came into a fight that she shouldn't have. And I have always found like if a bunch of women are screaming at a man, most likely the women are right. Like all four of them yelling at him. Clearly, girl, something happened. So I need you to just step back and you can have his back, but this is not your fight. This is stuff that happened prior to you being here, and you can only make judgments about what you've seen on TV. So all this happens very publicly. Anaya gets, oh God, she gets rejected publicly after she chose to stay with KC. And there's a lot there about Black women being super loyal to Black men who are not loyal to us. And even if it's to our detriment. So Carl was the guy that was like, huh, he just seemed like he was perfect for her. The volleyball, the traveling the world, like it just seemed like the perfect match for her. And I do want to shout out the producers for at the very least like looking at some of these people and understanding like these are the people that may match. And I think they did a good job relatively, whether they found each other or not. I think Mel and Corbin should have been together, but that's a whole nother conversation. So Carl watches himself get rejected and then experiences himself get rejected and then watches Anaya get rejected and cries. And when I tell you, that's when I shed my tear and I was like, that's her man. Because he felt her pain. He felt pain and he still said it was okay. Like he still wanted to console her. And that to me is like, that's what you want. Is even when I make a mistake, even if I don't choose you and it's a mistake, and I know I'm making a mistake while I'm doing it, you still love me. So, or you still care for me. I mean, Carl's in love with Anaya, let's just be clear. And if he's playing us, then he needs to have all the acting that he need to have every gig, every Oscar, because the way his body language moves towards her, that man loves her. He's 28, he may not know yet. So what I was talking earlier about was the hypermasculinity not winning this season, right? Like Carl showed love, respect. He never put down Anaya. He never made her feel bad about her decisions. He would not engage in one single conversation talking about her. He wasn't trying to put on this front that he was somebody that he wasn't to love her. He just showed her that he gave her the comfort that she needed and the safety that she needed. So Anaya, we saw a different side of Anaya. There was pre Carl Anaya, and then there was Carl Anaya, and Zach and his messy self, which apparently that's gotten blown out of proportion in the second piece of the aftermath. Zach tried to like push at Carl about that, and Carl was like, "Oh, I don't know that person. Like, she's really open with me. She's honest with me. All these things." So I think like to that end, because I've talked long enough now, the beauty of like her journey and Trinity's journey as Black women, darker skinned Black women being at the top was the ability to be vulnerable, to be open, to be interested in something that may not necessarily look like they think. I think Trinity's mom said that in the family meetings. But that was just beautiful to see. Honestly, it was just so beautiful to see. And there are other women like Kata was loved, although I have my feelings about Zach. Melanie needs to run from Sincere. I hope she has at this point. Apparently, she's not following him. That's the tea. Um, but it was really great to see this time. So my hope and prayer is in the aftermath, in the reunion in a month, that we are not back talking about how these men played in these women's faces. So that's my talk today about just like seeing Black women be loved and celebrated in Love Island. If y'all want a part two, I'm happy to do one because we still didn't get to, we really didn't dive deep into Zach, Sincere, Casey, Corbin, Melanie, Kinsey, or TT, or Jen. Shout out to Jen. I like Jen. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So that's my take on just watching it. So I'm just like basking in the goodness of it, of Carl loving her on Instagram out loud, Bryson Trinity on Good Morning America today or Good Morning Today. I can't remember, or maybe I think it was the Today Show, and just seeing them glow. They probably have had zero sleep, but just reacclimating themselves in the world. And so I hope that they experience love and support because Black women, especially with everything going on right now, our children are being killed, we're being attacked, we're unemployed. Like, we deserve every chance possible to be able to be loved and celebrate out loud. So I celebrate all of you for watching me, but if you are a Black woman indeed, I celebrate you more this week because it has been a tough time. And I'll be back to talk more Love Island because I bet a week from now there will be a whole lot more to discuss. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.